Hi guys, welcome to the Lioness Method. My name is Riss Hsu and I am an integrated breakthrough coach. And today we are going to explore what it means to be a successful business owner, rebel leader, and change maker in the new world. You got into entrepreneurship to experience more freedom, fun, and fulfillment. And today we're going to take a deep dive into how to expand your ability to receive more joy than you ever imagined and break through your current success ceiling. If you're with us right now for episode number 2 of the Lioness Method, and I am so honored and excited to introduce you today, Carlos Duran. And Carlos is considered to be one of the most notorious spiritual gangsters alive today. When you want a life of raw authenticity, ultimate fulfillment, and mega wealth, Carlos Duran is the man you go see, offering you guidance based on his unique blend of spiritual experience, entrepreneurial success. Carlos helps you break past all the mental and emotional BS that has been keeping you from living your truest and highest purpose. Carlos has opened the eyes of thousands of seekers who will want to define who they are by the quality of their actions, by the depth of their legacy, and not by the number of dollars in their bank account. Mega wealth is represented in the highest states of health and abundance for your mind, body, and soul. And Carlos Duran is not for everybody. If you prefer to live a lie or accept mediocre results, then run when you see him coming. His medicine is only for the brave who are ready to tear down their own facade and embody the brilliance of who they really are. So no matter how much you have accomplished or acquired in your life, if you're not waking up every day in pure joy, ready to seize the day, but wish you were, and you're willing to strip out your ego to achieve the state of personal empowerment, then you are ready for Carlos Duran. Awesome. Oh my gosh, I love that introduction. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here today, Carlos.
Thank you, Riss. It's beautiful. Appreciate that. Thank you to everybody watching. May God bless you. May God protect you. May every day be the absolute best day of your life. May you always know the love of your Creator flowing through you and in you and all around you always. Thank you for this opportunity to share, Riss. Thank you, everybody listening or watching at home, wherever you are. May the light of abundance always shower you with grace.
Beautiful. So, Carlos, I wanted to connect with you today on this platform to talk about entrepreneurship and the link to spirituality, because I have heard in the rumblings of not only working with my own clients as an integrated breakthrough coach, but within our beautiful community, the community that Taita has built, that you have built, that people are really awakening to the connection of having a strong spiritual foundation and the success that it can bring not only in their life, but in their business. So I wanted to just have an exploratory conversation with you today to talk about your own journey, because I've just watched, I've seen how you've grown. I mean, I love that every time I open YouTube now, I hear your voice in the Four Visions commercial. And I know that you're doing some great things with the Magic Foundation Fund that you're going to tell us about a little bit later. But what do you feel are the greatest links between spirituality and entrepreneurship?
Wow. That's a loaded question right out of the gate. So there's so much to say about that, because as an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to impact so much, whether you're a business, a solopreneur, or an entrepreneur with 3 employees or 300 employees. One of the greatest things, first of all, about being an entrepreneur is that you get to have a certain freedom over your time. You have a freedom over how much money you want to make, over your ability to invest in yourself, to invest in your family, in your community, to impact the lives of those that work with you, your staff, the lives of your contractors, the lives of your clients. The ripple effect that an entrepreneur can create is massive, in my opinion. And I believe that a spiritual entrepreneur is very much can carry the blessings and the richness of someone like King Solomon. Whether that richness manifests physically or spiritually, it's definitely there for the taking. It's there for the manifesting. I believe personally that when we put the Creator first in our lives, when we put the Creator first in our family, when we put the Creator first in our community, when we put the Creator first in our business, we can then begin to see the Creator in ourselves, that divine essence, that particle of creation, as Teta Juanito says, that lives in all of us. When we're able to seek, because it's not always easy to see, but we seek that divinity within ourselves. We seek that divinity within others. We seek the divinity within the situation. We find that we have no problems. The problems don't exist. We only have opportunity for development, for expansion, to gain wisdom, to gain experience, to gain growth, to flourish. It's been my direct experience that as entrepreneurs or business professionals put God first, put that divine essence of the Creator first in their lives, they really begin to achieve the ultimate fulfillment that I'm so fond of speaking of, which is this balance between your mind, body, and soul, where you begin to seek your highest design, your highest purpose according to the will of the Creator, and you begin to manifest the greatest version of your life possible. And I truly believe that the greatest version of your life is only possible when you walk hand in hand with the Creator, when you have a daily practice of inviting the Creator, that divine element of life, of creation, into the deepest chambers of your heart on a daily basis, to practice love, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, reconciliation. Teta Juanito calls these pillars, and these are the pillars that we can walk with. And as entrepreneurs, we get to choose how big we want our business to be. We get to choose what our business is, which means we get to choose how we impact the world around us. We get to choose the legacy and the inheritance that we leave for our children and for future generations of all those on the planet. And we also get a very important choice, what we do with our profit, the monetary profit, the time profit, the wisdom profit, the network profit, because there's a huge profit. One of a great Indian elder, cacique, a leader that I got to study with in Costa Rica for many years, told me, Carlos, the greatest investment you will ever make is in people. And I have found that over the last 12 years or so, since I learned that from him, since I received that wisdom from him, to be absolutely true. So as an entrepreneur, we get to decide where we invest all the profits of our lives and how those profits will create dividends, will multiply, and will create more bounty for the earth, more healing, more unity. And I believe inherently that is the power of a spiritual entrepreneur.
Oh my gosh, that was so beautifully said. Thank you for that explanation. And I think that really encompasses so many different factors that you're explaining about how it's all one full integration in our wholeness. My experience working with the medicine, which I know that we haven't even gotten to that part of the conversation yet, was I really was not an entrepreneur. I was not a business owner prior to working with the medicine. And so would you be able to kind of expand on how working with the medicine may open up that gift and may actually allow for an awakening to happen for people to really understand what their real true purpose is? And I know that you said that we get to choose our business, but isn't it also kind of true that our business kind of finds us organically? Or is it truly a thing of choice? Like, and how did that relate to how you ended up on this path?
That's a great point. To not get overly philosophical, you're right. You know, there is. So we'll start with this. From a Kabbalistic point of view, your life is like a movie cineplex, right? And you walk into it, and there's 10 versions playing in the different theaters. Each version is a version of your life. The first studio, the first theater has the worst version possible. And at the end of the hall, in the 10th theater, there's the best version of your life possible. And in that sense, we have a choice. We can choose which version of our life we're going to live in through the choices that we make, the seeds that we sow, the consequences that we carry out, or what we reap. That then through that application of free will, we can step into the greatest version of our life. I personally believe that there's a great design for each of us, that we each have a unique mission, a unique purpose in this world that is blanketed by love, by light, by passion and purpose. But this design is created by the great architect, the great Most High, that divine God, that divine goddess, and that divine mystery that exists all in one, that from its womb and from its loins came forth creation. And so when we step into the greatest version of our life, you're right, it's already there. Sometimes it feels like you chose it, but you're right, it chooses you because it's already there waiting for you to step into it. But along that line, you can always choose as well. There's a lot of great choices you can make that are wonderful choices. But typically, as we step into that greatest version of our life, it will always naturally unfold before us, usually one step at a time. We usually don't get the whole playbook. We don't even get the whole page ahead of time. We get like the next word, the next sentence or so. We're lucky the next paragraph. And we step into that. Now, plant medicine, as you say, the medicine.
Oh, I said the next word.
What was that, Riss?
Or just our vision, having just like the next word in the sentence sounds so accurate.
Yeah, that's typically the way it plays out. That's the way, not just entrepreneurs, almost everyone that I have the opportunity to share with and work with, and myself included, it's usually just the next word that you get. And you got to step into that word with faith and power. And sometimes you're fragile, but you take that step anyway in faith. And from there, the power springs forth. When it comes to plant medicine and business, the medicine as you called it, there's really, as Taita Juanito explains, there's a canoe or there's a table in the celestial realm where all the plants dance, all the plants exist. And that's everything from the trees that you see behind me to mint leaves, to chamomile leaves, cinnamon trees, kale, broccoli. Everything in nature is our brother and our sister. Everything in nature, as the grandparents explain, as Taita Juanito explains, they are our allies. They are there to help us come closer to creation. And unfortunately, in the game that we're playing, in the illusion that we're in, we have part of the game is set up where there's the illusion of separation between myself and myself. That's why we often at times feel disconnected from oneself. There's the illusion that I'm separated from you, and then there's the illusion that I'm separated from nature. But the plants are here to demask that illusion. They're here to peel it away and show us that we're really all one. So the entire kingdom, the nature kingdom, the kingdom of nature, is medicine, and most of it is based around plants. The animals are also medicine. The water, the mountains, the fire, the wind. It's all medicine. But bringing it back to plant medicine, there are those elements of the medicine, of plant medicine, that are more readily available. And then there are those that are considered to be, they call them teacher plants or master plants. And here we have plants such as cacao, such as Santa Maria, such as peyote, such as the sacred mushroom, and ayahuasca or yahe, which is the plant medicine that I mostly identify with and most closely work with. But any plant medicine, depending on what's called to your heart, is an available tool, or as Taita Juanito says, they're just one door to help you step in to alignment, to help you step into the present and disconnect from the past traumas, to help you live in passion.
Oops, I think we might have lost a connection with Carlos just briefly. He is calling in from Costa Rica. So we'll just give him a moment just to hop back on the line. But I absolutely love what Carlos is sharing with us. He's not only a spiritual gangster, but he's been instrumental in my own healing process and been a spiritual mentor in my life, working with some of these plant medicines. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on the podcast today to have this conversation is just to have a broader conversation with business owners, rebel leaders, and change makers that are curious about different healing modalities and different ways to expand their consciousness and ability to really hold more energy to grow their business and to thrive in their life. Because I think what a lot of my clients are finding now is that we can't compartmentalize our lives anymore, especially with this pandemic that's been happening for almost a year now. That there's no more compartmentalization. And the work that I do with corporate companies, which I still work in advertising, but I am working in a different capacity in the advertising world now, working in a coaching and facilitating capacity. And what I'm finding is that people are starving. They're so hungry for that true connection. So the line between business and spirituality is definitely coming together. It's coming in. And as Carlos was talking about, we are one, and there is this oneness that is happening. So is the oneness within us, So the modern entrepreneur or business owner knows that spirituality really needs to be the foundational practice of continuing to grow personally, professionally, being able to connect and serve with their clients, and understanding that entrepreneurship and owning a business is really a higher calling, because that's truly what we are all here to do, is to explore our gifts and to get our passion and purpose into alignment so we can better serve the communities that we were sent here to work with. So great. We are, again, just waiting for Carlos to hop back on. Here we go. And there he is. Beautiful. So so it's definitely about integrating all of these different things and integrating the way that we are connecting with our spirituality into our businesses, and the way that we can really have a strong foundation that will be unshakable. Because we all know of people that have built businesses and then burned out really quickly because they weren't able to support. It wasn't sustainable over time. All right, so Carlos is back with us. Hi, Carlos, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in the Colombian mountains, and sometimes the internet plays tricks on you. But we're grateful just to have internet in the mountains. That alone is a huge accomplishment. So what I was saying about plant medicine. Plant medicines, they're a doorway, and there's many of them. And oftentimes we find that those of us in the business arena are competitive to a degree, and that's very positive. And we're looking for the edge to help us improve. Not always necessarily the edge against a fellow person in the industry, but just the edge within ourselves, much like a golf player who's always competing against him or herself. We're looking for that internal edge. But the experience isn't linear. However, plant medicines give us that edge. It's just not necessarily the way we expect. Sometimes we're looking for an edge in business, but what we need is an edge in our home life. Or we need an edge to cut away from some of the limiting beliefs, the belief systems, that BS that has us attached or hooked to the past, or reacting a certain program pattern. This one lady one time said this amazing thing to me. I said, well, how's your life been since you first drank plant medicine? And she said, Carlos, I keep waiting for a reaction that no longer comes. And that's the most beautiful thing. When we no longer have to react the way that, sometimes we even are acting out and we're observing ourselves like, that's not even what I want to say or do, but we're in that energy. And so plant medicine helps us release those traumas of the past, helps us break free of those binds that keep us stuck, keep us limited under a ceiling or enslaved to patterns. So yeah, it's true. Plant medicines can give you visions or understanding or clarity for your business. Absolutely. But more likely, they will give you a cleansing of your emotions, a liberations of your trauma, and a clarity for your mind. They will make you calmer, more centered, a more loving, more compassionate, more aware, more empathetic person, even more clairvoyant, more connected to yourself, to your children, to your loved ones, to your employees. And this really, these elements are really what drives you forward as a business leader, as a thought leader, as a successful individual, because it's never about the amount of money that you're making. It's really about the amount of impact, positive impact that you're creating at any level. Whether we see it as big or small, it doesn't matter, because the seed of an oak tree is so tiny, yet ultimately over time, it will grow massively. And there's an amazing saying that I'm going to paraphrase about what a compassionate or wise individual is. And that's a person that plants seeds for trees, which fruit they will never harvest. But we're planting those seeds knowing that we're leaving a better, more beautiful, more abundant field for the future, for other generations. And those are the kind of thoughts, the kind of frequencies that plant medicine puts you on, which really to me is the ultimate road to fulfillment. It is the ultimate road to success.
I love that. Thank you for that explanation. And that brings up another question. One of the other things that I've heard, I've actually been on, have you heard of the app Clubhouse yet? Carlos, have you heard of
I'm
Clubhouse
having a little bit
yet?
of a hard time hearing you, Riss.
Oh, okay. Maybe the sound can tune in a little bit. So I have been in conversation recently with a lot of entrepreneurs that are curious about working with plant medicine like ayahuasca and just psychedelics in general. But one of the biggest misconceptions that I keep hearing is that plant medicine is a substance, and that people are engaging with the substance kind of to like trip out or use it for other purposes. And I think that's a huge misnomer, because as you began this conversation about entrepreneurship being a connection with our spirituality and our creator, plant medicine is very much from what I understand from learning from you and from Taita and Mariah, is that it's a tool for connection. So what are your thoughts on that, on people that have kind of this idea that plant medicine is just a substance, that it's just a thing that people are doing, that that it's a kind of something that's being generalized or kind of whitewashed in our culture right now because of its popularity?
Yeah, well, first I have to say that if people are doing plant medicine as a fad, or as a Me Too thing, like I want to do it too, I think that's awesome, because they're ultimately doing something that's going to improve their lives. So in that sense, that's great, right? I mean, they're not going to the pub, drinking down some beers, or doing some shots, or even worse things, or they're not spending their time on I don't know, let's say exotic vacations, but the kids are back at home. And in other words, if you're doing plant medicine for whatever reason, the spirit of the plant is still going to work on you. It's still going to work with you. It's still going to bring you the fruit of its beauty, of its essence, of its heritage, of its purpose when it was first created. But when we go beyond that, we find that in science, for example, they say that, ayahuasca is a hallucinogen, or that peyote is a hallucinogen, or that the sacred mushroom is a hallucinogen. But this is a misconception. This is where we find that science has so much to catch up with spirituality, because often science is spirituality explained in simple terms, or in physical terms, material terms. But yet, because science is yet so young compared to the frequency of spirituality, the art of spirituality, we find that science oftentimes can misclassify things, because when you're connected to a sacred plant, what you're seeing is not a hallucinate. You're not hallucinating. If you see pink elephants fly, you're hallucinating. Because there's no pink elephants, and elephants don't fly. But you're not going to experience that with a plant medicine. You're going to see things that are frequencies They're manifestations of colors, they're manifestations of patterns, they're manifestations of nature, and at times even very clear visions about your life. And the thing is, you don't always see with plant medicines. Sometimes you hear, sometimes you feel, sometimes you receive a healing without any visual effect whatsoever, or a guidance or a counsel. Or sometimes the plant medicine takes you deep on a journey that you don't hear, feel, or see anything. But there's a healing taking place in your ancestral line. There's a healing taking place in your past lives. There's a healing taking place in your childhood from memories that you suppressed and maybe don't even remember. So plant medicine and the addiction aspect is also very curious. People say, well, what if I get addicted to plant medicine? I don't know anyone that's addicted to plant medicine. A lot of people are addicted to the positive results that it brings. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not. Everything done in balance, everything done with the intention of bringing more harmony to your life is a good thing. It's a very positive thing. Even Taita Juanito will tell you, he's been working with yahe, which is a type of ayahuasca, since he was about 4 or 6 years old, and he's approximately 37 now. And before every ceremony, before he drinks his cup, he thinks about it. Do I really want to go through this again? The taste is often bitter and earthy. Oftentimes we purge the trauma or the stuck emotions. We go to the bathroom a lot, and more often than not, there's times of great physical discomfort. So these aren't party elements. These aren't party drugs. There is a celestial party that takes place. And after you go through the bitter process, the sweetness comes in, and there's a heart opening experience. There's a mind expanding connection to the universe, to the oneness of everything, which brings richness into your life. But I've never met anyone that was addicted to plant medicine or wanted to get addicted to it. Most definitely, I think we get addicted to the positive results. But again, shouldn't we be addicted to love? I mean, isn't that the ultimate high, to be in love with myself and with everything around me?
Beautiful. Yes, exactly. And I love that you bring up the addiction part of it, because actually one of the experiences that I had personally was I studied when I was deep in my own addiction. I studied different ways to heal myself. And I actually found Dr. Gabor Mate's work, and then Dr. Joe Dispenza. And then I ended up finding rhythmia. And that's eventually how I ended up meeting you and Taita and the whole team. And I know, myself included, literally numerous people that have been healed from their addictions, that have been able to be in recovery from that point on, working with the medicine. So I think that it's such a beautiful explanation that you just gave us, as far as building a relationship with the spirit that's going to work through our life in every sense of the word, and that we learn very quickly that it's definitely a journey that's often messy, but very rewarding and so beautiful. And I think I'd also love to add that it's so much fun. The reward part is so beautiful and fun and joyous. I think I personally had never experienced joy at that depth in my life, because I think I was so closed off, and it expanded my capacity to actually receive more joy, receive love in a way that I'd never felt in my life. So I think that the work you do is so needed and so beautiful right now. And I think that every business owner, or just human being that is looking for a rapid transformation, they want real change in their life, that this could be a real vehicle for that. And I know a lot of people are really curious about it right now, because there's a lot of people talking about it wherever I go. So I love that we're having this timely conversation about how it could really benefit people. So
I think it's important to inject at this point that the ceremony itself is only the beginning of the healing. It's only the beginning of the transformation. let's call it baggage, whatever baggage you're carrying around with you, right? Whether it's a physical dis-ease or an addiction or something that you hide behind or a reaction or a type of pattern that you typically respond in that's not producing the best results in your life, whatever that baggage, that monkey on your back is. When we come to the plant medicine, when we come to the ceremonies, we're liberated of that baggage. But then we have, as Taito Juanito so beautifully explains, the other 50% of the work, which is, for example, I'll just use cigarettes. I come to 1 or 2 or 3 ceremonies and my desire to smoke cigarettes is gone. The reason, the emptiness that I had, that I was filling with that draw of the cigarette is gone, and now I'm fulfilled. But now I have to continue to do the work on 2 parts. I have to bring into my life the positive environment, the positive thoughts. I have to continue to feed my mind, my body, and my soul with edification, with things that uplift me. And then I have to put into practice those changes, those actions that create true change. And then it's my choice if I smoke a cigarette again or not. It's not if I go back and smoke cigarettes, it's not because the plant medicine didn't work. It's because I chose to go back to that. If I'm liberated from the past and I choose to revisit the past, that's on me. That's not on the plant medicine. And it's so important to do that work that begins to manifest internally and externally the gifts that you receive during a ceremony. And again, changing our habits, changing our thoughts, our words. As the great Taita Laureano once said, to think beautiful, to speak beautiful, and to act beautiful, and you will live a beautiful life. And so the plant medicine in the ceremony releases the baggage that we can then choose through free will to think beautiful, speak beautiful, and act beautiful to manifest a beautiful life.
Thank you. I love that. And you've inspired so much of the work that I do now as an integrated breakthrough coach, because it really was based on exploring for myself that other 50% and what that work really meant for me. And then after I had done that work, how to translate it into success for other people, to allow them to have breakthroughs and to continue on with that other 50% journey, which is basically that, our brains are master computers, and just as easily as, we're downloaded information, we can quickly delete things and rearrange it in a way that makes life much easier for us. And our ability to accomplish success quicker and have the results that we want becomes a lot more successful. So I love everything that you're saying and all the value that you're bringing to everybody listening right now about just what this could possibly mean for their life and their business. Is there anything else that you would recommend out there? Like, what would be your top 3 tips for entrepreneurs right now or business owners right now, given that we're in a new world economy, we're in a new way of doing business, and you and your partner are building this beautiful, impactful business together that's impacting so many people. I'd love to hear from you what those tips would be.
I'd love to share them. I don't know if I could get it down to 3, but we'll get them down to 3 or 5. Okay. One is your personal relationship with the Creator. That is for sure the absolute most important thing. To every day speak with God, or whatever your name for the Creator is. If it's Allah, the Most High, whatever the name is, to have an intimate, personal relationship with your Creator, and to every day go deeper into that. I would say to develop self-love. There's no point in having a successful business if you can't love yourself. The great teacher, Yeshua ben Joseph, also known aka Jesus Christ, said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it starts with self. And I believe that relationship with God brings you into loving yourself. There's a mantra that I received that's helped me a lot with that I'd like to share with you, which is, I am the love of my Creator. I am my Creator's love. I am love. And I no longer practice it daily, but for many years, that was a daily mantra of mine in some of the darkest moments of my life. The third thing that I would say, it's important to have an awareness of your environment. Toxic environments will destabilize no matter how great your success becomes in the material world. A toxic environment at home, a toxic environment at work, or a toxic environment in your social settings, that toxicity will seep and will infect with venomous poison all aspects, all areas of your life, and will destabilize and crumble. Toxic environments are very much akin to building a castle over sand. It will, no matter how big and beautiful the castle is, it will eventually fall when the sands shift. So that's really important to have an awareness of our environment. And the ways that I like to address environment are one, through spiritual practice. That's really important. Also, by seeking, like yourself, Riss, seeking professionals that can help you integrate, that can help you gain an outside perspective. Because I believe one of the worst things that we can have as entrepreneurs is so much success that we get the Midas disease, where we think everything we touch is going to turn to gold and we're always right no matter what. And that really blinds us and that cuts us off from flourishing and from thriving. So I believe bringing in other professionals, other consultants into your environment and putting to practice what guidance you're paying for usually, right? I mean, you usually end up paying for this guidance. So you might as well put it to practice and test it and see how it works for you. See how that guidance, if it produces benefit in your life, if it calls into your heart, you take what works and you leave behind what doesn't. But whether it's through books, through online courses, through one-on-one coaching, like what you offer, Riss, which, by the way, I highly recommend Riss. I have seen her apply her discipline, and I have seen, as a master craftswoman, how she has honed her life like a fine quartz. Also, I believe that we have to work with things such as acceptance, forgiveness, and reconciliation. No matter what, we're always going to have, at times, there's going to be a river of shit that flows and shows up at your doorstep. How are you going to deal with it? Is it just going to be a river of shit? Oh my God, shit's everywhere. Or you're going to say, oh, wait a minute, there's fertilizer showing up. I can take this and fertilize my life with it and have a whole new field of prosperity flourish before me. So perspective on how we deal with things is very important. And I believe that acceptance, reconciliation, forgiveness, and gratitude are the 4 key things that help us create a winning perspective in life, a perspective of fulfillment, of joy. Because no matter what you're thinking of me right now, or how you see me, or all the things you may see about me on YouTube or interviews, I always like to tell people that there's moments in my life when the ground is moving, when I'm being tested, where I have to dodge and move and really call deep into that tool bag of ancestral wisdom that accompany me. I have to call on my pillars and my allies and my guides to give me wisdom, because I really can't see the moment, but I can feel that faith in my heart. But that faith in my heart is developed as a result of all the previous steps that I mentioned. Also, having purpose for your business. I think that's really important. What's the purpose of my business? How does my business impact the lives of my employees, the lives of my clients? And really, like, one thing that we're doing now at 4 Visions Market is we're looking a lot at the ecological impact. We're looking at the containers that we use, at the shipping material that we're using, and we're coming more into an alignment with our philosophy in that sense, more eco-friendly packaging. But that's just one aspect. 3 months from now, we might be reviewing how we're impacting our employees, and 3 months from there, we may be reviewing how we're impacting the lives of our clients. And we work with indigenous tribes, and that one's always under constant microscopic observation. How are we serving the indigenous communities that provide goods for us, that provide art and spiritual tools, and how are we remunerating them financially? How are we supporting them mentally, physically, sharing the spotlight with them? A good example, for example, the Kuntanawa Nation recently had a big water conservation project, and we did everything we could to promote that. We brought them online. We had fundraising events. Another big part, I believe, of spiritual entrepreneurship for success, I said the books, the online, the mentors, the coaches, giving, tithing, having, for us, we have a big dynamic way. I mean, most of our income literally goes back, about 60 to 70% goes back to these indigenous communities. But tithing is very important. At least giving 10% of your personal income and your company's net profit, giving that away to charities or to projects or to individuals that you believe in, and just donating that without anything in return directly, because the remuneration for you will come through other avenues, through other connections, through other opportunities. And finally, faith. Faith is something that you build on, and there are going to come moments where you're going to be tested. Again, to go back to the Bible, there's this character named Job. And Job was said to be one of the richest dudes around, thousands of heads of cattle and wife and land, and everything died. Everything, his whole life just basically vanished before him. And he said, you know what, God, it doesn't matter. I'm sticking with you. And God said, you know what? You're a man of faith. I'm going to multiply onto you everything that was taken away from you. And why does that happen? It happens because your soul and the universe doesn't care about the car or the house, even though it's good to live in comfort and luxury. The universe lives in abundance. Trees just waste fruit all the time. Water runs through the river and it never stops. The river's never trying to hoard the water and keep it back. And trees aren't trying to keep their fruit. They just let that go and let that multiply. However, what purpose we have for our prosperity, how we use our gain, how we give that back to the world, determines a lot of how we receive and how we're able to grow. Because again, to me, a successful entrepreneur isn't just about the dollars. It isn't about the sales and the size of the enterprise. It's about the quality of life that you're living, the quality of life that you're supporting to create, and the purpose, the passion behind your business, what it's doing for others, for the environment, and for yourself. So I think that's pretty much a really good summary. And that last part, faith, is really important, because that's what the universe cares about. How deep can you go in your personal relationship with the Creator? Because that's how the universe measures success, by the amount of light and love that you're able to radiate from within.
That's so profound. I love that so much, Carlos. And you're a man of much wisdom, because you have worked with people from all walks of life at this point, from the very upper echelon of society to just our general everyday person. So I love your perspective, having been somebody that's literally worked with thousands of people at this point, and as a man of faith, for what you do. And so much of what you're saying just reminds me that, as an entrepreneur, I think, or as a human being, I think we're taught that true strength comes from being able to carry the burden of pain throughout our life. And as an entrepreneur and as a spiritual being, as we evolve, we come into a knowingness that the real strength is in letting go of that pain, so we can make space for all the beautiful things that you just described, all the abundance, the fulfillment, the joy. And it's all got to be based on a foundation of faith. So I hope that kind of summarizes.
I agree with you. Thank you. Yeah, that's beautiful. And, the thing about wisdom is so funny. I don't consider myself to be a spiritual being or enlightened. I just consider myself to be a dude on a path that's seeking to fulfill his greatest purpose and design according to the will of the Creator. And I had a great mentor. His name was Gary Halbert, the first true soul warrior that I ever met, besides my mom. And he said to me, wisdom is the amount of scars on your head and the amount of broken teeth that you have in your mouth that you gain through experience. And so it's an interesting thing, wisdom, but these are times also of sweetness. There is a sweetness that's being born that maybe we're not seeing yet, but it's there. And in this sweetness, there's a new type of wisdom where we don't have to suffer as much. We don't have to be in that pain. I truly believe that we're coming into a time where the pain we're going to realize was just an unfinished rock or an unfinished piece of wood or a blank canvas with paints that we get to design, we get to craft into a beautiful masterpiece, and then put on a mantle and say, that's my badge. For me personally, one of the greatest badges in my life is having been raped as a child. That pain is no longer there, but the artwork that's created, the empathy, the connection, the understanding, the story that allows me to share and connect with other people and help them take that pain and transform it to art. I'm proud of that. I'm grateful for that. And even there's a great teaching that's coming out now about forgiveness, that we're going to reach a point where we realize there was nothing to forgive to begin with, that it was a mirror, it was an opportunity. And in many cases, it was a karmic event that we created in this life or in a past life that we now get to come and experience and complete and cleanse. So all that becomes a very beautiful experience on our collective and individual journey.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Now I hear what you're saying is that our pain or our abusers become our teachers, and our pain becomes our lesson and the strength that we build our life on.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Word. That's true.
Thank you. So I know we're coming up on an hour here. I want to be really mindful of your time. I've just absolutely loved this conversation. It's just so much fun to have this conversation with you today. But I'd love to hear more about what you're working on with 4 Visions. And then you also have the Magic Funds. So can you tell us a little bit more about your work?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the first thing that I want to shout out is Finca Ambiwasi, which is the House of Healing. This is a retreat center for plant medicine and holistic healing that Taita Juanito has set up in the mountains of Colombia, not too far from where I'm sitting right now. And you can learn more about that at Finca, Finca, Ambiwasi, AMBIWASI.com. And I'm sure Riss will put it in the notes somewhere for you. And there you can learn about Taita Juanito, about the many types of modalities that we use here to inspire and support healing, and of course the plant medicine journeys that we offer. Another wonderful project that I am proud to be a part of is 4visionsmarket.com, where we bridge your front door to the Amazonian spiritual tools that your path requires. And that's a living biosphere. We work with indigenous communities, indigenous healers, indigenous artisans. We work with female cooperatives that have women that come from indigenous backgrounds that had abusive relationships. And we have an amazing worldwide tribe like yourself, Riss, of 4 Vision Market supporters and lovers. And this is our tribe. And collectively, we share a path. And something that I want to say about the path is that, plant medicine may not be your spiritual path, much like yoga is not my spiritual path, but it's a supplement that I use to support. I use yoga to support my path. I use breath work from time to time to support my path. And I use healthy eating, but I'm not a nutritionist. So you can come to plant medicine once in your life, once a year, once every 5 years, and use it as a spiritual oil change, so to speak. And what we do at 4 Visions Market is we bridge spiritual art and spiritual tools. We give indigenous communities a platform where they can really profit from their culture, from their art, and share it with the world in a way that allows them to take pride of ownership in their culture. It allows the younger generations to receive income, because a lot of people don't realize how deep into the Amazon the industrial world has reached. And indigenous people, unless they're very, very deep, I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 days deep in the jungle, need an income. They want their children to go to school. They want their children to learn about technology. They need to buy clothes. Sometimes they need to buy food.
Uh-oh. Did we lose sound?
I'm here in the mountains and they're doing construction. So sometimes there's a lot of trucks passing by. And that's another example, right? I'm part of an indigenous community here, but we're building and we need building supplies. We recently worked with an indigenous community to help build a cultural center where they're teaching dance, language, and healing traditions to the children. So all that requires income. And if they don't have a way to sustain themselves, to really thrive, not just survive, from their knowledge, from their culture, from their craft, then they have to go find jobs in industry like the oil industry or the mining industry, where they're just simply exploited and their land is exploited. And nobody wants that. They don't want that. We don't want that. So when someone buys from Four Visions, they're not buying a product. They're connecting to a biosphere. They're connecting to an entire network, and they're bringing home spiritual tools and spiritual art that's going to impact their lives and impact the lives of the people that they share it with. And that's what we do here at Four Visions Market. We bridge the Amazon with the Western and create a meeting ground in the middle to share, to learn, and to grow. And we like to think that we're one feather in that great Hopi prophecy where the condor and the eagle meet, that we're one strand of light frequency in that great prophecy where the next generation are the rainbow people, and we come together to share light and beauty in the world. The other project that I'm very proud to be part of is Magic Fund. The website is magicfundamazon.com. And there we have direct action projects. Thank you so much. We take the money that's donated, and unlike most companies, we don't take the 10% for the projects and keep 90% for administrative costs. Not at all. Up until now, Magic Fund has been a purely volunteer basis. The money that we've paid, for example, is for web hosting and web design, minimal amounts. The vast majority of the money that we take in is directly applied to the projects that we have. We work with 3 to 4 projects at a time to make sure everything is concentrated and brought to fruition and completion. So if you feel in your heart like you want to donate $10,000 or $5,000 or $1,000 or $100 or $15 to a project that supports the Amazon, feel free to check out magicfundamazon.com. And if it resonates with you, drop a few dollars in there to support the projects that we're working on. Again, there's direct action projects. We don't go through third parties. We work directly with community leaders. They tell us what they need, what they want to work on, and we put it together and make it happen. And real quick, you mentioned Rhythmia. I want to give Rhythmia a shout out, rhythmia.com. Rhythmia is an amazing place that gives you the comfort of the Western world. They have Western doctors there on site. It is, again, Western comfort, luxurious rooms, medical staff. They have an amazing COVID screening that on site allows you to have a pre-COVID experience. And they have a meeting ground where Western medicine and Western comfort meets the ancestral path. So if coming deep to the jungle or into Colombia is not your step right now, Rhythmia is a great first step to get introduced to the plant medicine and receive that wonderful healing experience.
Oh, definitely. Rhythmia is so beautiful. For all of our listeners, and if you're curious about working with plant medicine, it's just like Carlos was describing, it's basically a 5-star experience in Costa Rica for spiritual wellness. The food is amazing, and really it's also about the community. When I first started on this journey and I arrived at Rhythmia, I did not have a community that supported the wellness at the level that I have today. And the community that I have today is very much from that family, from Rhythmia, and then, meeting like-minded people in Los Angeles and basically all over the world now. It's an absolutely beautiful experience.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
what I want to share, Riss, before we go is one, having tools at your disposal is really important. The internet is a highly undervalued tool today. There are so many free online courses, speeches, segments of speeches, podcasts, like what you're putting out, Riss, which I congratulate you. It is so beautiful that in your heart was born this platform. Also, for example, at fourvisionsmarket.com, under online courses, there's a free course that I had the blessing of putting together. It's called How to Achieve Ultimate Fulfillment, and that's free, and you can catch it at fourvisionsmarket.com. You took it live, actually. You took it when it was live.
I did, yeah.
You were there all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're a true alumni of the course. And now over 1,000 people have taken the course, and two people didn't like it. One of them didn't think it was what they wanted, and the other one just honestly didn't like the course. But I'll take 2 out of 1,000 plus. It's okay. So more than likely it's for you as well, and you can check it out for free. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it every day of the year. If I could have that success with my marketing, we'd all be unbelievable. And before we go, I just want to share with you that you're watching this or listening to this. I don't know where you are right now, but I know that you and I are riding the same rock across the cosmos. We're on this planet Earth. And I want to tell you that I came up from a very difficult background. I came up and I was able to flourish because God was there for me. And I realized that if God was there for me, God is there for everybody. No one gets left out. So I want to inspire you to find God within yourself more and more. I want to inspire you to share God with others and to find God in every moment and in everything that you do. I want you to know that no matter how dark it is, light does exist, and the Creator does love you, and the Creator will never abandon its creation. You have never been alone, and you will never be alone. The forces and elements of nature have always and will always be with you. The love of the angels and the spirit guides have always and will always be with you. The strength and wisdom of your ancestors will always be with you. When we go far back enough to the source of origins, we're one family, we're one race, as Teta Juanito says, seeking to learn and speak the language of love. And that's all we ever have to do is work to cultivate love for self and love for life. I challenge you to be an inspiration for yourself and to share that inspiration with others. The world is full of tools. You just have to find the ones that fit best in your hand and work them. Because as they say, when you work the plan works. And the Creator has a plan in the works for you. You are worthy. You deserve love. You deserve the absolute best of everything you desire for the greatest purpose of your life. And I love you. And the Creator loves you. And everything is here. The whole world was created just for you. You truly are the center of light. You truly are the center of the universe. Those aren't just words. I've lived it. I have felt it. I was a person that lived in destitute, spiritual darkness, and I had a lot of physical wealth at the time, and yet I had nothing. And when I found nothing, I discovered everything. Again, it's not poetic words, it's the truth. So if you can step into the plant medicine, if you can step into breath work, if you can step into yoga, and if you don't know what to do, find Riss, reach out to her. But I'm telling you, when you reach out, the hand of God is already going to be there waiting for you. And I invite you that we celebrate life together always, that every day be the absolute best day of our collective existence.
My gosh, you're just speaking words right into my heart. And I know that hit so many people just right where it needed to right now. Thank you, Brother Carlos. That was beautiful.
Oh,
and in that tone, I would love also to invite you guys who are listening right now to join the Breathwork Circle. I offer as my love offering to the community a Breathwork Circle every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll drop the link, but if you go to breathewithriss.com, you can sign up for any Wednesday or every Wednesday and bring some friends, because you'll learn there how to really not only integrate your experience, but just to work with the breath as a way to expand your consciousness, expand your ability to be more, to do more, and to show up in a way that makes you feel really, really good in a healthy way. So I just want to thank Carlos so much for coming on, spending this time with us, and just really sharing from your heart. And thank you for listening, you guys, for staying with us all at this time. And until next time, I'll say goodbye. And thank you so much, Carlos. Be well.
God bless and God is protect always. All the best. Much love.